Just what? Devastated.
Yes, Lord.
Just so devastated.
Devastated. Deep blood.
Or a star.
Mark.
That's all. And take over.
Roll over.
All at once, Tom. West Bracket. Chases smart, Tom. Fender, guitar. Wonderful. Quickly move.
Quickly rule.
Cut the move. Joseph. Fool.
Joseph Fool.
Not cocaine. White side.
Foreman.
Monte Carlo. Me. And Peg Roller. For one car. We are We are 14
Casablanca.
We are
14 men.
Casablanca. Yeah.
In Casablanca.
We are 40 men.
We are the
Casablanca.
40 men in Casablanca.
Oldest in the grave. Forty men in Casablanca.
In the group,
In your grave.
mixing, new read.
Daughter. Suzanne Grave.
West Braggett, individual.
Wonderful. Hipster. Beyond. The 40 men in Casablanca.
Turn over, quickly. Susie Fool.
We are
We are
40
the 40
men
men in Casablanca.
Casablanca.
40 men. We are 40 men. 40 men in Casablanca. Forty-nine, 40 men. Casablanca. Food. In the grave. Mixing in the grave. Hold up in the grave. Encore. 40 men. In Casablanca.
We are the 40 men.
Waterman.
Smiling, waving, looking so good. I don't think you knew you were my star. Your face, your ring, the way that you talk. New York's in love. New York's in love. As you are, I wonder what in the sea. I'll be there. What does it mean? And you're always painting pictures. Cheers. Cheers, Mike. Makes me want la 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 la. Please.
I just want to Chester. Yes, that's good. Stop.
Well behaved.
Swinging in the city.
His favorite word is the fight.
They'll tell you the truth for you to sing.
It's time you pay each word.
Sing again. All at home.
Pause.
What dog? Begin rise. And your home is good. And you're all the way. And all the way.
There is life and blessing. Never leave it all. It is. Well behaved. Straight down to earth. The dark. In the night. The day. In the light. The Roderick. Einstein. Siesta. Baby. There you go. Ahead of you. You're going right. Oh, mister. Diddy. Oh, diddy. Wrong. Roar.
This is the call for
How far?
all we home. And your home to stay you when you're away.
The date must have been little. After 2003.
Before 2000.
Or thereabouts. Half a year,
Later.
perhaps even, should we say.
Christmas time.
3.
The system had inaugurated the hospital procedures
Hospital procedures had been inaugurated
to matters concerning
matters concerning
and implied
a
a visit to the GP surgery.
the GP surgery.
I read, of course,
I read it once.
not just because it was too early in my opinion, in the day,
The
had
day
become an unnecessary task.
also
But also, I was busy
I was busy
building up the web station,
building up the web station,
which takes us to point one,
which takes
which
us
is, this was the big surprise for Susan today.
was a big surprise with Susan.
Everything was going to be left behind on the computer, put into second base. I was going to take charge and making sure she became fit. That, though, was a big secret. I've often wondered since, as the years went by, what would have happened if that had became, if what had happened, in fact, which was reaching the doctor's surgery, him playing the fool, and wanting to make dates also for further sickness in 3 months, 2 weeks or something, the time drop it began. 1 year rather than sickness, which it became obsolete, in fact, prior. This raises a little bit of a stink. In this case, I asking him what the game is. And why the recall of sick notes in such a short sequence. In a steamy gesture, he phoned up the police, didn't he? Who arrived pronto. I was then arrested and taken to the clink, unable to pass anything to Susan, back card or anything of any use where she could get herself some money. She was penniless, in fact. This was the day we were reaching the payment machine to take out a payment. Likely I had next to nothing myself. She had absolutely nothing. The police wouldn't allow a moment's pass and parcel to go on. He caught me off and left her in the lurch, in the middle of nowhere, with no money, direction or anything. Now wasn't he a clever little beaver, the GP? Reisman, wasn't it? Yes, Dr. Reisman. Yes, well, point one, reflection. I today was to stop work on the computer, development areas, put everything into hold, and take charge of looking after Susan, feeding, making sure she was fed up. Sarnie's milk, trips out and leave the computer station for a while in second bay. What would have happened if that became the case? I have often wondered. Because, rolling on, as we must, as you know, that was the end of our marriage. She was kept in a hospital. As soon as I started to visit her, But I was released and chucked out of hospital, shouldn't you say?
Short of bombs.
She was then put on a section where she was unable to come home. It was time out. With the public. Like a good shamanistic approach to everything. I found the schoolmistress's daughter in the Turk's Head.
Mistress's daughter.
We began to chat. She remarked on Rattlesnake Redskins to Strangle's album and the new one of the Times, Dreamtime, and asked my opinion on whether they had a similar sort of sound. Well, we went on for an hour or so talking about this and talking about that. I was reeling from the effect of my last girlfriend who just recently went off to France.
Sort of condition.
Wasn't financially in a position to take off with another girl, especially a stranger. Now we're going on to the second part of the
Who is it? Louis.
Dreamtime album.
Host of Time.
Which is our course for this evening.
Record.
Metal Machines. Well, that's actually an oral sculpture. North Wind's Blowing. There's a real relative there, in fact, because the album I mentioned, called Dreamtime, well, North Winds of Oral Sculpture. It apparently, for the records, based on a dream. Now, we could assume the dream is it in the following album? Oral Sculpture comes after Oral Sculpture. No, the live one.
That's all right.
All Live came out, didn't it? Few greatest hits type of things. So Dreamtime might have been the next studio album. Yeah, Metal Machines is where we want to base our nucleus around. Now, Metal Machines, in this case, relates to a girl. Metal Machines, a nickname for a girl. Which is fair when you consider the song's based on a dream as far as the record's concerned. Now, in one of the verses, I saw metal machines that was turning on a generation that hadn't yet tired. Now, that suggests to become some sort of leader in the underground and channel the energies of the youth onto the older beings. I saw metal machines and were turning on a generation that hadn't yet tired. So they're still fighting fit. If they hadn't yet tired, that suggests they're not old yet. Now, Metal Machines will be merely in their 20s, very early 20s, if not 2021. In particular, Metal Machines, which is what the dream's about. For the record's concerned, Now she's coming into power, and she's certainly big enough to be in power. Just the other night, I was talking to one of the nurses here about how the planet invokes the dreaming capacity within you. Whatever's going on in life, when you sort of fall asleep, the planet itself re-establishes a format of its own for you to, well, such as the pictures, you could say, of dreams like that, aren't they? Which are established by the planet itself, which is why likely to make, little or incomprehensible sense. The point I was making to the girl I was talking to, right, well, it's just a pastime. There's no sense in actually being able to establish what a dream is set out to mean, as far as hidden meanings go and that sort of thing. It's just an amusement of the planets, I would put it down as that. At the end of the day, when you're younger, it's more of an interest. You think of something fantastic there, like the gold pot at the end of the rainbow sort of thing, when you're younger. But as you come to work things out, eventually it's just a planet amusing itself in a very nice, lovable, amicable way, which is giving you all information that's necessary in a different format, and can approach you this way or that way in the dream guise, and all sorts of things anyway, which ultimately I think most people would agree that it leads nowhere. Yeah, I mean, once I got into martial arts, right, and after years of doing real martial arts conceptualization, what I was able to fight in my dreams before that, it was impossible. Now I found myself being able to really mince people up in my dreams where they're unable to fight because they don't know how to fight. Don't know in real life, right? And when they beat people up, they pull their hair and kick them in the face, or punch them, knock them around, grab them and wind them, and all sorts of things, rattling moves. But in real terms, they don't know how to fight. So in the dreams, they can't fight in their dreams, not in reality. In the dreams, the reality of it, you see. Now I was able to fight in dreams. I was knocking 6 tons of crap out of anybody that was working themselves in the dreams, I mean, real blows, hard blows, and then making them in the dream, making them aware that they were really getting hit, hurt. I knocked the stuff out of some people, annoying us in dreams, but I found that really interesting, people kind of fight. In their dreams, it's the reality of it, they can't defend themselves in their dreams, They want to work themselves in the dream for this reason, that. It all came to an end. After knocking the pail of shite with so many people, that sort of dream has stopped. Stopped working ourselves in the dreams because we're taking too much severe beatings in it, Which is the type of sidestep, people seem to be able to control the mannerism and the approach in dreams as well. Is that the consider which is flung me into the Dreamtime album, could be a concept there worth studying.
The Ira.
In the dawn, in the night, in the day, in the light, she goes.
They go. Mr. Roderick.
High.
Einstein.
High up in the sky.
High in the sky.
High. High up
Siesta.
in the sky.
Siesta, baby.
High up in the sky. Like an angel. Then up.
Up in the sky.
Take me up into the bright night sky. Where the seagulls fly in the dark, in the night, in the day,
Siesta.
in the light, seagulls.
Baby. Slips in to play the line. Slips in
High,
to play the line.
high up in the sky.
Slips in to play the line.
High, high up in the sky.
In the sky.
High, high up in the sky. Like an angel. Then up. Take me up into the bright night sky. Where the seagulls fly in the dark, in the night, in the day, in the light, seagulls.
That's it.
High, high up in the sky.
Play the line.
High, high up in the sky.
Line.
High,
Play the line.
high up in the sky. Like an angel. Then up.
Like an angel love.
What's going on here?
What's going on here? Peter Brown.
Right, I recognise the voice.
Recognize the voice.
I was standing at the bar
I was
and
at
left
the top.
immediately to see what was happening.
I had a pint of aftershave.
I was in the back garter after a pint of aftershave. Reaching the door, there was a guy with tickets.
Nathan Dawson.
But you must take a ticket for Henry's Barber Shop. It's popular with the boys from Whitley Bay, in particular George and Nigel, go there. So in order to get back in, you must take a ticket to get in the pub when you come back. That's the barber shop.
You're not going to get in.
Well, I popped it in my top pocket.
Saw
Pulled
Tommy
it out the
Crane.
door and saw Tommy Crane.
Selling batteries.
What are you doing, Tommy, I says? Selling batteries like. I've got to get in the upstairs in the clock for fish and chip dinner. Big Frankie Kelly, he won't let us in. I'm trying to sell a few batteries. I says, what don't you know? You buffoon. There's a pound shop selling them. 4 in a carton unopened. You get 4 for £1 in the pound shop. You haven't got any chance of selling there. Just then, Billy Kelly was chasing Roy Eden down Clayton Street towards the Cordwainers. What's going on? Peter's brown voice said again.
What's going on here?
Stop, you thief, Billy Kelly shouts. He's been made steal from the till. I'm after him, everybody, stop him. Roy ran through the Cordwainers. I felt to see what was happening. Once inside the Cordwainers, it wasn't selling beer anymore, it was a cafe. Which I walked through, out the other end. I don't know where they'd went. They'd disappeared. I got out the other end in the Eldon Square, and there was the fish and chip cafe
What's going on here?
on the opposite exit. Immediate left was JJ's cafe with a
I
quacker
found myself
girl
coming out
and the Mexican girl serving. Directly opposite it, there was an American style restaurant come cafe with burgers and various types of meals in.
I said, I'm going upstairs.
I decided to go up the escalator to the Japanese cafe to see Carmen,
That was calm.
who welcomed us in as usual
Been welcome.
and brought us some red melon across. Sat us at the table politely and gave us the bowl of red melon. JC was there with a huge smile, wearing a huge smile at the counter, trying to sell mocha coffees. I says, JC, hello, how's things today, pet? Says, I'm still waiting for you, Baker, to take us down to Tynemouth before I get married out to go back to Indonesia, them sort of places where all the floods are, see what's going on.
Philippines.
Well, I can't just now, I replied to JC. I said, I cannot, JC. Today, I've got to go around to the Japanese cafe to see Look Heavy and our friends who says, Baker, you're going to be away for a long time. It often played in my mind and got us to go back around there pretty fast. Once round there was another girl.
Yet to be
Stopping
16.
the spring fruit and veg counter with a Chinese girl working with her. There was a lad there making cakes in a big cake counter, and I recognised the Chinese girl from the Chinese supermarket. I've seen her on more than one occasion in a full squat position. And then I began to think, well, why is she working on the Japanese supermarket? I went round to have a look at the Chinese supermarket actually, because that's where I was buying my teacups from, coffee cups and saucers. And on coming out of the place, the Japanese girl, as usual, was on the till there. She used to work across the road in the Rose Rest, where Trudy Westwood's known to play at on occasion. Leaving there, I found myself outside Sainsbury's in the Gallagher, and Tabor was there, shopping for Big Baker. She said, Baker, what are you doing down here? You can come back in my car and take a lift back to your flat. I'm coming that way, I'm doing a bit of shopping. And which I did. And here we are making the Dreamtime episode, where we've been negligent. Roy Eden bit was due for it to be larger. What was that all about? Red House Farm, Gary Driver had showed up, yes. And he Suzuki 380, friend of a friend. Also, Roy was a big name in the school days. He was at Jubilee Road School, lived on Red House Farm, was a friend of Gary Driver's. I was at Gosforth School. Roy was a big name in those days. Became a butcher in the market. Tried to help Billy Kelly out. Uncle, he called him Billy Kelly, says. He's calling me Uncle Roy Eden. Don't mention Roy Eden to me. And there Billy was chasing him down the road to Cordwainers. Yeah, well, like I say, he was trying to Gary Drivers in Red House Farm, and I noticed him being chased there by Billy down Clayton Street. Tommy was trying to get into the fish and chip restaurant above the clock and sell batteries to afford himself a lunch. And Peter Brown was round shouting, "What's going on?" Well, there was girls working by then in the butcher shop, in the cold meat sections and places. And in the cafe, the Quacker and the Mexican girl, and JJ's restaurant cafe next to the rear exit or entrance from the Cordwainers cafe cum restaurant. Because by then Eldon Square being modernised dramatically. I went upstairs, as you knew, to sit with Carmen, who was most polite. We'd bring the red melon over, before the bottles of wine, etc. And Jaycee was working as usual with a huge smile, wearing a huge smile on her face. He wanted us to take her time off before she was off with her new husband. By then, back to, well, was it Indonesia or somewhere around them sort of areas? There was lots of floods going on. We'll take a second recourse over the name of where she was heading. Some future episode. I mean, we've got Baby Too Precious. We got Shaken Like a Leaf happened. And we even went down to Feline. Small world. I mean, that's Tabor there. She pulled out a Walkman. Tabor's outside Sainsbury's, offering me a lift back in her car to the new flat. And she pulls out a Walkman, and lo and behold, what's she listening to? Something off the Dreamtime album. It's Mind Skies. Well, we'll continue with this event after we've uploaded this one. Likely that will be tomorrow. More